Who killed Brandon Tate Brown? Who killed Brandon Tate Brown?
Because we want to know who killed Brandon Tate Brown. Who killed Brandon Tate Brown is not just about Brandon Tate Brown. It's about every Philadelphia citizen that would die by the hands of the Philadelphia Police Department. They will not tell you who killed your family, and that's just petty. If the Justice Department report came out and the mayor really wants transparency, the first thing he would do is name the killers of Brandon Tate Brown. You're not going to just bypass this whole thing and say, oh, we want to be transparent. Transparency will be out here. We know that you're criminals. We know that you target black people. And it doesn't matter that black cops kill black people. They're pigs. They're in blue.
Good, stand strong, brother.
So it's still racism. They just have our people killing us, but they're getting paid for it.
Thank you everyone for coming out today. First, we would like to give a little brief history of the Philadelphia Police and its brutality. The Philadelphia Police Department, in their attempt to silence and/or portray protesters, community activists, organizations, and public citizens as antagonists, problematic, disruptive, and embarrassing, cannot be the cause and reasoning behind the brute force and abuse of power used against them when confronted in our communities with our concerns. Rather, there has been a long and historic script of the Philadelphia Police Department's brutality, murder, repression, and corruption. From the attempt to take the life of Mumia Abu Jamal, to the move invasion of 1978, to the bombing of Osage Avenue in 1985, to the flames that burned in August of 1964, to the public stripping and nude display of Panther members, to the ruptured testicles of young Darren Manning, and to the murder of Brandon Tate Brown. It is very clear the biggest gangs and bullies in this city are that of the Philadelphia Police Department. Be it here in Philadelphia, throughout the country, and the international world. Which brings us to this event today. As part of the Coalition for R.E.A.L Justice and Philadelphia citizens, it is our job to ask the questions. It is our job to be bold. It is our job to protect those who cannot protect themselves. It is our job to be the voice of the voiceless. It is our job to confront the police occupation in our neighborhoods. It is our job to address the stop and frisk. It is our job to hold the city officials accountable. And it is our job to demand transparency. The Philly Coalition for Racial, Economic, and Legal Justice is a coalition of over 30 organizations and 800 individuals formed in response to the high-profile police killings of Michael Brown in Ferguson and Eric Garner in New York. The coalition is committed to ending police terror, uplifting communities through economic empowerment, and changing laws that legally discriminate against area residents. On March 19th, around 30 or so members of our coalition attended the public forum on community and police relations at Lawncrest Recreation Center with Commissioner Charles Ramsey and District Attorney Seth Williams. What began as a protest in response to the PPD's lack of transparency in the Brandon Tate Brown killing and the announcement that no charges would be filed against the officers ended with 10 members of the Philly Coalition for R.E.A.L Justice being arrested. We were there because we no longer can revise or modify the blatant disparities between the minority relationships in the PPD, because we cannot revise or modify the permanent injuries or the lives that have been lost. Today is a chance for us to respond to the media and the public on what happened on the 19th, as well as what we feel R.E.A.L Justice should look like. So first I would like to bring up Asa Khalif. He is one of the 10 that was arrested. He is also the cousin of Brandon Tate Brown. He is also a member of Philly R.E.A.L Justice, and he is also the founding member of Racial Unity USA.
Thank you, my sister. No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
What do you want?
Justice!
When do you want it?
Now!
What do you want?
Justice!
When do you want it?
Now!
No justice!
No peace!
No racist!
No peace!
No racist!
No peace!
No racist!
No peace!
Peace and blessings. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to be very brief. We have 2 questions that we want answered. One, We want the names of the police officers who were involved in killing Brandon Tate Brown. We're not going to stop asking who are the cops. We need to know who they are. We need to know their history. We need to know their backgrounds. We want the names, and we'll keep marching until we get them. Number two, we want the tape released to the public. Let the public decide what they saw and what they did not see. Seth Williams do not dictate to us what we should see and what we shouldn't see. Release the tape and give us the names.
Release the tape!
As far as this coalition is concerned, I'm very proud to be a part of it. I'm extremely proud to be one of the 9 or the 10 that were arrested. I stand with my young brothers and sisters, and I stand with them today. I stand with them tomorrow. I stand with them forever. If it means getting arrested yet again, that's exactly what we'll do until we get justice and the names and our demands are met. No matter what the press or the district attorney or the powers that be in this city try to paint this coalition, you will not be able to break us. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, you can't break us. We're too strong, we're too proud, we're too in charge, and we're coming for you. Every time, every day, we're going to keep asking the names. We're not going the way. You can't break us because we're unbreakable. Power to the people.
Power to the people!
No justice?
No peace!
No justice?
No peace!
No justice?
No peace!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
that's right. Next, we like to bring up Miss Megan Malachi. She is also one of the 10 that was arrested. She is also a member of the Philly R.E.A.L Coalition, as well a member of the Action Against Black Genocide.
All power to the people. All power to the people.
Power to the people!
Like Sister Erica said, I was one of the 10 who was arrested at the so-called community policing panel in the Northeast. However, I only have a few comments for today. I want us to be clear that the police think that they can come into our communities and brutalize us whenever they feel like it. They think that they have the right to beat us, to kill us, and to get away with it. But those of us in the coalition are here to say that those days are over.
That's right, yeah.
We are no longer going to accept your brutality. And if you put your hands on us, we demand and we know that we have the right to defend ourselves.
Exactly.
We reject the idea that the police have the right to brutalize us and we just have to stand there and take it. It is clear to us, particularly for those of us who have grown up in this city, we grew up in the shadow of Rizzo. I grew up with the consciousness knowing about him. As I told one of the reporters, one of the first memories that I personally have of policing and what it meant was being in the Superfresh with my mom when I was about 7 years old. It was the day that Frank Rizzo died. And there was a black elder in front of us in the line, and everyone was saying, "Oh my goodness, Frank Rizzo died." And the first thing he said was, "Thank God."
Good. Yeah, good.
So that is what I grew up with. I grew up knowing that the police are not our friends and that they are here to control and brutalize us. So if you're under some kind of spell where you believe that that's not the case, we need for you to wake up.
Wake up!
Wake up!
Wake up!
Wake up!
The one thing that the coalition believes is that the Philadelphia PPD no longer has any right to try to police. They need to be immediately disempowered, disarmed, and disbanded. And we will keep pushing until that happens. The first district that needs to be disbanded and disarmed is that 15th district that murdered Brandon Tate Brown in cold blood. They have no conscience and they don't care about killing black people. So we are going to make sure that we take their guns and that we completely dismantle that particular police district. And we're going to start there, and we're going to keep going until these Philadelphia police officers no longer have a job.
Yeah!
All power to the people.
Power to the people!
No justice.
No peace!
No racist.
Police!
No justice.
No peace!
No racist. y'all.
Next, we'd like to bring up Scott Williams, who is also one of the 10 that was arrested. He is also a member of the Philly R.E.A.L Justice. He is also a member of the International Action Center.
What's up, y'all? Who killed Brandon Tate Brown? Who killed Brandon Tate Brown? Who killed Brandon Tate Brown? All right, thank you all. So we are here right now because on March 19th, our civil rights were thrown right out the window. Directly. I saw, particularly these civil affairs officers who pretend to protect our rights, and pretend to, interact friendly with protesters. These were the direct individuals, including the lieutenant, who directly attacked our movement and started the entire thing you saw on television. The entire incident was started by the pushing. I was personally just directly thrown by a cop who I don't even know who it was, and I was doing nothing. I was sitting on my camera phone, Anyway, so we've run into the civil affairs many times, and we know their real purpose is to hold us back. They might say they're protecting our rights, but we know on every single way they're plotting and turning how they can turn us into an ineffective movement, and that's why we're out here today, to keep the public knowing that we are still going, and that we are still alive, and we're still fighting like hell. Our purpose that night was to respond to the travesty of injustice, of Brandon Tate Brown, with the racism, with the lack of transparency, with the lack of responsibility by this city on every single level. Personally, the arrest of these 10 activists was completely shocking and unbelievable. And like I said, the escalation of violence was completely unnecessary. It was completely unnecessary. Yet none of us are surprised that the same police force which bombed the house of the MOVE activists, which have attacked activists since the 1930s, none of us are surprised that these cops attacked us that night. Looking back on it, this is what they've done throughout history when they were called the Red Squad. Yet we are not the criminals. Rather, the police organization who shot over 400 people in the last 7 years is the criminals. Every 6 days, someone is shot. Every 43 days, an unarmed civilian is killed by these police. Every 43 days, you make another dead Brandon Tate Brown, and 80% of those victims are black. It's a crime, and the whole damn system has no future except for to kill. So, we know that these statistics are only the beginning of why it is clear that our movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, will not end. We're not going anywhere. We gotta wait 6 more days for them to shoot somebody, 43 days for them to kill someone. It's crazy. This will never end until we shut it down.
Shut it down!
Let's be clear, there's no amount of training that can ever fix these racist cops. We have no illusions of this, and we're totally, just completely shocked that the mayor could come up with such a ridiculous plan as what came out yesterday.
Fucking ridiculous!
But then again, Mayor Nutter has nothing for us except for the same budget cuts, school closings, racism, tax on public workers. Everything that he's done in this city, he can't garner an ounce of respect from the people of Philadelphia because he doesn't care about us at all. So we expect to make it very clear to the next mayor, to all the politicians who work in this building, and to the ruling class of this city, including the people at Comcast and all of these banks and corporations down here, that we're not going anywhere, and we're going to shut this system down, and we're going to get justice by any means necessary, and we don't care. We know you guys are the criminals, and we're very clear on that. And we don't have any time more really to waste on waiting for these politicians to save us. We know that. And we know the only thing that will stop the Philadelphia police's war on the people is to continue being out here. And to continue building our people's movement, which wants nothing less than full community control of the police, along with the disarming of the police and the jailing of killer cops. Let's think about that too. The Department of Justice said that over the 400 police shootings that happened, 5 cops were fired and 0 are in prison right now for killing people. What is that? How does that happen? 5 are fired and 0 are in prison? We need to jail these killer cops. We need real justice now. And along with that, real justice, what that means is to take all this money out of building up this military and this police and building union jobs and a higher living wage and basic public education for our people of Philadelphia. We're going to fight until we win that. All power to the people, and let's keep this momentum going.
That's right. All power to the people.
All power to the people.
Jail the killer cops! Jail the killer cops! Jail the killer cops! Jail the killer cops! Jail the killer cops!
Jail killer cops! Jail killer cops!
So next we'd like to bring up Emmanuel Martinez. He is also a member of the Philly R.E.A.L Justice Coalition, and he is also a member of the Soul at Penn.
I want to read you a short portion. The New York Times published an article about the incident when our members were arrested. When Police Commissioner Charles Ramsey and District Attorney Seth Williams appeared at a town hall meeting here on Thursday, they were prepared to explain why criminal charges had not been filed against an officer who in December fatally shot a young black man in the back of the head. But instead of a conversation about the man's death, the meeting descended into lawlessness. Residents angrily shouted at the commissioner and pointed fingers in his face. Metal folding chairs were hurled. Protesters tussled with police officers. There were 10 arrests. After a series of fatal shootings of unarmed African American men and boys by police officers around the country over the past 8 months, police departments have been engaging in an unusual public self-examination, trying to figure out how best to break away from images of them as hostile, occupying armies, and mend their relationship with the public, particularly African Americans. This is the narrative that millions of Americans have been exposed to. This is the only narrative that they read. This is the fodder, the crap the mass media feeds people and lies to them as the reason to why we are fighting and why we are asking who killed Brandon Tate Brown. And it's making it seem as if the killings that are not coincidences across the country, that are systematic, that it is some type of misunderstanding, that it is not a pathological behavior of a whole police department, that it is just an incident that has happened in the last 8 months, that is isolated. Our members went to that meeting because it was necessary that these lies are not perpetuated, that our voices are heard. And we're going to continue to show up at these places and challenge mainstream voices and news and ask who are the officers and the reasons why they are killing brown and black people in our community.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Next, we would like to have Ms. Meg Morgan Malachi, who is also a member of the Philly R.E.A.L Justice Coalition.
Thanks everyone for coming out and supporting. So I was locked up. I really don't want to talk about that, but I do want to talk about the system in this country that makes these cops think it's okay to even touch you. You don't walk up to anybody and just touch them. If I did that to you, what is your natural reaction going to be? Exactly. That's what happens. So that's what I'm going to talk about in terms of that. In terms of who killed Brandon Tate Brown, like I said, that speaks for everybody who ever comes in contact with a pig-killing Philadelphia police officer. We will not know who killed you. Is that acceptable?
No!
Is that fair?
No!
Is that justice?
No!
Is that transparency?
No!
That's nothing. And they think that they're going to keep hiding behind their little, what they want to do. No, it's our way now. And if you don't know, you will recognize soon enough. These cops were coming for your profession because your profession has been shit for a long time now.
That's right. Woo! That's right.
You're not professionals. You guys are murderers. You guys are extortion artists. You guys are thieves. You guys are drug dealers. And you guys are killers. That's what you are. This criminal system that we call the justice system is going to be overhauled. That's what we come here for. It's not just about police brutality. That is one branch on the tree of corruption in this country.
That's right.
And black people aren't standing for it. I'm out here because I don't want to die. I don't want my brothers to die. I don't want my sisters to die. I don't want my brown brothers and sisters to die. And we want to know who the killer cops are so that we can avoid them when we're out in traffic. Am I right or am I wrong?
Right.
And if you don't want the label as being a killer cop, then maybe you should stop killing.
Right.
So Action Against Black Genocide stands for just that. This is a genocide. And we aren't standing for it. So we're acting against it. And the R.E.A.L Justice Coalition, we got together out of a necessity. Because we need our voices to be heard because it might save one of our lives. This is not a game. This is not protest game. I didn't come out here to protest just to have fun. This is not a social hour. This is my life. And this is the lives of everybody that I know and love. And that's the reason why I'm out here. And I will not stop. You black cops, you sellout cops, we're not having it. You guys will get on the right side of history, but when this is all said and done, you and your kids will be looking at you and your grandchildren will be looking at you like, Pop, what were you doing? 25 years from now, we will all know who were on the right side of history, and it won't be you. You were worried about getting your paycheck, but your paycheck is done because we're going to make that happen. There's no more paychecks for you guys. There's not going to be any criminal system that allows you guys to flourish and get paid for killing black people. It's over for that.
Shut it down!
Shut it down!
We are going to bring alternatives to police, and we need the community to start standing up. When you see black kids getting pulled over, stand up and say, hey, do you guys need help? Stand there and watch the police because that is your right. And that is the only way that we can prevent these crimes from happening is if we all have each other's back. And that is called community support. And that is building the community. And the movement and the politics or the politicians will only be as strong as the movement on the ground. So if the movement is strong, just imagine that the politics will probably be watered down times 10. So that means we have to come harder and stronger, and that comes with building our communities. Don't think it's not your responsibility to ask a cop what they're doing. They work for us.
That's right.
We take damn near 40% out of our paychecks.
Okay.
That is not a little bit to sneeze from. They work for us, and I want to know what you're doing.
Who killed Brandon Tate Brown?
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 And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much to the R.E.A.L Justice Coalition. Everybody that comes out and supports this cause. This is not a cause. This is about people's lives. And we need to stand up for everybody's life because it's important. And they're not going to do it for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
United will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
The people!
United will never be defeated.
The people!
Thank you again. Now we would like to open it up to a few of the other members of the coalition who would like to take a minute or two to voice their opinions and their concerns about the disparities in our neighborhoods, or to make a comment about the action that was taken against us last week at the Lawncrest Center. I would like to bring up Carmen.
Hey, I'm going to keep it real quick. I'm one of the 4 women who were arrested at May 19th. So, unfortunately, he just left. But one of our friendly civil affairs police officers, a large man in a black suit with a black hat, just walked around the corner. Let me give you a quick experience I had with him on Thursday at 7 o'clock. After things got a little rowdy, he begged and pleaded, screaming in my face that I hit him. He pleaded, he said, start something with me, fight me right now, please. I'm not making this up, I'm not joking. He begged me, because there's nothing about being a police officer that makes you a hero. You have every single line of defense backing you. You have the budget. You have the judicial system. You have every single line of defense keeping you safe. So cops and pigs aren't heroes, and that's one thing we need to remember. Cops, even the ones that film us, who act like they're one of us, things like that, they're not heroes. This pig over here on his phone with his umbrella, he's not a hero either. These are cowards, and they will be stopped. Thank you.
If there are no more members who like to make a statement, we now like to open. Come on, Brother Keem.
All right. Basically, it's this. I want to address the fear that black people put in the system. Because when you're pushed outside and you're by yourself and you're surrounded by 6 white officers with batons and tasers, they remind me of slave patrollers trying to catch a runaway slave. That hit me hard. Then now I go around and I hate white people. I'm going to say that shit loud and clear. I do. I'm trying to be hard not to be a nationalist. You know, I understand there's non-racist whites and racist whites, but how do you select between all of them? When all of them support the police. The thing is, though, Ramsey said he's not proud of crime in the black community. But the thing is, though, if we can't grow our own food and water, how the fuck did the drugs and the guns get there? He knows how it gets there. He doesn't want to say anything about it. He's just an old original fuckboy. That's what he is. That's all he's going to be. And until he address these issues, fuck him. Yep. Fuck the city. Fuck everyone that stands in our way.
Go ahead, continue. Go ahead, kid.
Everyone that stands in our way. You know, that the fact they depicted the image of me looking like the aggressor when I was defending my friends and comrades for being attacked. We did nothing wrong. If he wanted to talk about the toxic community, the relationship between cops and people, he would have had that shit right. Come on, no one wants to play these games anymore.
Thank you. We would like now we will have Betsy Jeff from the International Action Center as
On Monday, the Department of Justice study called for greater transparency. And, you know, it's something Philadelphia has not, maybe never had in its police department. And the commissioner, Charles Ramsey, maintains a policy that not every city does, that they won't give the names of officers who were involved in shootings or cases of brutality. But the papers are quick, you know, as soon as the body's on the ground, they concoct a scenario about the victims of police brutality. They come up with all kinds of stories about why this victim allegedly deserved to be killed or beaten by police. Because the police have the story. They're all ready with their story, their side of things. And the victims' pictures are posted in the news, whether they're alive or dead, like Brandon. But yet, the people who kill them, we don't know who they are. We don't know their history or her stories. We don't know, for example, unless it gets to an indictment level, that cops like the two who beat Najee Rivera in 2013 each had 7 previous complaints against them with civil affairs. 7 each. And yet it took the girlfriend of Najee Rivera to get the video to expose the lies that these cops were telling. Now, if we don't need transparency, I don't know what we need in Philadelphia, other than what my sisters and brothers have been calling for, was just to disarm the police and shut it down until we can have a system that works for the people. So Mayor Nutter, quickly in response to this report, which the police asked for, because it's kind of like, you know, putting a cloak around them and saying, well, you know, we did this study and, you know, we're going to look into it and, you know, we'll hope you forget about it in about 6 months or so. So Nutter sets up this so-called advisory commission to talk about implementing this study. And who does he appoint to it? You know, I don't remember her name, but it came to light today. This is the same person that former Mayor Street appointed to a similar commission 6 or 7 years ago that was supposed to study the question of the police and community. Now, that advisory commission obviously didn't go very far, so what are we expect from this one, which he's also going to put somebody from the Fraternal Order of Police, and you know the scheme. I mean, it's already set in concrete that this is a bogus commission that we're all supposed to say, oh, thank you, Mayor Nutter.
More training and more money.
More training and more money. You know, we already know what politically appointed commissions do. We only have to look at the School Reform Commission to know what a politically appointed commission does to rob the people of the city of Philadelphia, and we're not taking it anymore.
Stop police brutality!
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 Stop police brutality! Yeah, so we like to thank everyone for coming out for this press conference this afternoon. And if anyone from the press or the media has any questions, we now open the floor to you guys. So we thank you all for coming out. We appreciate your support.
Seth is continuing with our planning and our protests and our moves toward justice. The event that was held in the Northeast on last Thursday, it was just the beginning for us. We have way more land to cover, way more things to address, and we're just going to keep going. And there's also the coalition, the next coalition meeting coming up on March 31st at 6:30, and that's going to be held at the Friends Center over on 15th and Cherry Street, so not far from here. Deciding what they want their communities to look like. I know that I don't want my communities to be full of police who are just standing there telling people what to do, and I have no control over that. And I think we also need to have a conversation about how we define police brutality, because to me, that conversation is extremely one-sided. So basically the police, they get to determine what looks like police brutality, and I think that conversation should be happening in communities. Are there any more questions, comments? I also need to let you know that one of our other comrades, Del Matthews, her son was murdered by Chester police, and she's going to be at 60th and Market at 2 p.m. There's a protest there if you want to come out and show support. Saturday. Yeah. More questions? In every city around the nation, I don't think that Philadelphia is in any way special. I think that just like places in Ferguson, just like New York, just like Cincinnati, just like pretty much every urban center that you could think of, we have the same issue. So I think that the Black Lives Matter movement is definitely connected. And I think that we need to remember that we're not alone and that we're all fighting the same aggressor. Obviously, there's going to be some differences in how they attack us based on region, but the result is the same. It's all about racism, white supremacy, capitalism, and trying to maintain the status quo for rich people.
That's right.
I just wanted to add that it's important that the way that the narrative is shaped by mainstream media, that it doesn't isolate, like our members were isolated in the news as some random protesters who were being aggressive towards police, that it's not random, so that people think that we're crazy, that there's a very valid reason why we're doing this. Like Morgan said, this is not just some random cause. And that's something that this is connected to Black Lives Matter, that we need to make sure that our voices are being heard in that way.
I would say that is the typical Black gatekeeper narrative. They try to act like they're down with the people, but we all know that they're not. I think that we've seen throughout history, and from enslavement to now, that white supremacy always promotes, a few Black people who so-called make it, and they make it through oppressing the rest of us. And we see that going on now in the music business. Common with his, Hand of Love, reaching out type of narrative going on. Pharrell with the New Black. I mean, it's everywhere, and it's nothing new. But we have to just be mindful that that's what they're doing. This is part of the game plan that has traditionally been placed in front of Black people to make it seem like you're the one messing up, you're not holding up your end of the bargain, you're crazy. The whole Bill Cosby thing, God's tired of you. Like, why did you steal whatever and have the pound cake thrown at you? You know, it's the whole thing. It's always the same. Well, I'm aware that all of the organizations have bail funds, and I think that's extremely important. Being able to support comrades who get, arrested and locked down for their political work. So you can definitely support monetarily through that means. But you can also come out and get involved. I think that one of the most important things we need, besides financial resources, is more people to come out. It's really sad when you're trying to do work and you look around and the spaces that you're working in are empty. So we need more people who have this passion, who want to see things change, come out and get involved. We all have particular talents that we can bring to the movement, whether it's music, writing, whatever. So whatever you want to do, just come out. We can accommodate you.
Shout out to the people.